Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mahasiswa from F class. Today I will explain about topic 3. The title is Individual Difference in Second Language Acquisition. Based on Alice 1985, explained that personal factor in second language acquisition include as group dynamic, attitude toward teacher and teaching material, and individual learning techniques. While general factor includes age and intelligence and agility, cognitive style, attitude and motivation, and personality. The next is personal factor. Personal factor in second language acquisition are discriminating that come from within learner. These factors have a large influence to specify success in the process. In personal factor, divided into 3 groups. The first is dynamic group, the second one is group attitude, and the last one is group learning process. The first is group dynamic. In group dynamic, in personal factor are very influenced in the process of learning in foreign language. Some students will make comparison between themselves and other students. In this case, based on Bailey in Alice 1985, state that the self-image of student can be reduced in reading. If the self-image is not successful, 2 conditions will appear. The first, student will fail and their effort to learn will decrease. The second is that student will be more motivated to correct their mistake and further improve their abilities. If the self-image is successful, students will have a positive experience and they will do business or even increase the effort to be better. Thus, it can be concluded that group dynamics will make a student assess their own abilities and compete to the best in the class. The next group is attitude of learner toward teacher and teaching material. The attitude of learner towards instructor and instructional material can also influence the process of learning foreign language even on their achievement. Student will feel more comfortable learning if he taught by some he likes. At the same time, the learning process became more effective and the teaching material will be delivered well. This will affect student learning outcomes. Likewise, the teaching material, when the students do not like the material, they will install filter so that the learning process becomes less effective. The last is learning techniques. Based on Alice 1985, learning techniques divide into 2: learning language and acquiring language. Learning language is the process of the student that use the strategy or the technique to learn about language, such as memorizing, drilling, preparing something, and so on. Besides, acquiring language is a student trying to jump directly into a situation where the target language is used. Personal factors are factors that are difficult to be observed by a third person. Moreover, personal factor can only be studied into 2 ways, namely using diary studies and using combination of questionnaire and interview with students directly. That's all of my material. Thank you very much. Last, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ramadan. I will explain about learning first language and role of first language. First language or mother tongue is a language that has been learned from the baby birth and usually influence of language in family. Children sometimes will try to produce a language approximately in early childhood, especially in 12 months, and of children, they try to speak word more than they heard. And before producing their language, the baby have their way to say their language or word that they want if they are need something. For example, when they are hungry and when they want to eat. It will be confuse their parents if they are crying all of day and only crying, and it will make our parents confused. Vocalization is processed to produce sound and speech. It means the baby will produce a sound that is difficult to understand. And the please the process produce a word or speech without trying about the role of language. For example, baby say la 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 la. It may don't have meaning of something. It may they just want to play with their mother. La la la. And then the role of first language is includes some aspects that are grammatical error and use of first language rules are similar with the second language and judgment of grammatical correctness. And grammatical errors are first mistake that made by the children. They still do not know how to make a correct sentence. In grammatical error, the children should realize of syntax and vocabulary. And however, this grammatical error is also a adult problem and also second language learners. Sometimes the second learners still use their first language role of producing the sentence, not just consider first language role in second language. It means that the students often make mistakes based on the grammatical and use for second language because however, this grammatical error is also a adult problem and also second language learner. Sometimes the second language learner still use their first language role of producing the sentence. Now, use of similar first language learner role in second language. It means the student often makes mistakes based on the grammatical use for second language. And because they are still use the natural role of first language in producing second language. And for the example, in Indonesian sentence, aku mau pergi. In English, the translation will be I want to go. And same with Indonesian rules, it makes a sentence in English based on judgment of grammatical assessment means that learners speak their language and language still need to be corrected. People who know that or such as parent or teacher must assess and improve the language they make. And it can be an evaluation to find out how far the language is learned and part of the must be developed. Indonesian people have many tribes, culture, religion, and languages on their location with diverse dialects. In school, our first language they have been already to learn about language they learn be their teacher. There are various mother tongues considered that students come from various backgrounds and ethnic group, regional language as the first language known to children greatly influence the acquisition of Indonesian language that will be assigned to children in their schools. And religion language as the first language known to children greatly influence the acquisition of Indonesian language that will be assigned by children in their school. Okay, maybe that's all from me, and thank you very much. That's all for watching.
Wabarakatuh. Well, my name is I'm from F class, the 5th semester of English department iain Kediri. Well, I would like to explain about interlanguage. Yeah. I'd like to tell you what interlanguage is. Okay. Interlanguage is a process in which the learner mixes the elements of L2 and L1. They are trying to use GL or a global language. Also, it doesn't matter whether they use the correct elements of L2 or not. And then let's continue. Here there are three main elements of interlanguage. The first is L1 and the second is L2 or FL and the last is IL. Well, L1 is the first language, or usually we call it a mother tongue, and then L2 is a second language or a foreign language, and then the last is IL. IL is an interlanguage. It is a process between L1 and an acquisitions, also the understanding of L2. That are the main elements of interlanguage. Now let's continue to the characteristic of interlanguage. Here there are three main characteristics of interlanguage, and the first is interlanguage is systematic. What is systematic? Systematic means interlanguage that has a system rule. For example, go become good. So go become good. And then the second is dynamic. Dynamic means that the rule of interlanguage can be changed. For example, go become went. Yeah. Go become went. The rule is changed. And then the last is variable. Variable means here is a learning depends on the type of input and content. Those are three characteristics of interlanguage. So now let's make it simple that interlanguage is a language between L1 and L2. Here we call interlanguage. So interlanguage is the language which is used by a learner who learn a second language. Yes. I think that's all of my explanations about interlanguage. Hopefully it will help you to understand about interlanguage. Well, thank you very much for me, and then wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
And welcome back with me. I'm Hosni Mubarak and I'm from Situbondo and I'm from F class. And today I'm going to tell you about observing, learning and teaching in second language classroom, right? Okay, the first is natural and instructional settings. What does that mean? The students learn the language from the natural. They learn the language from the surrounding, such as social interactions, working. If the children live in the environment, say they learn the language from that. And the second is instructional settings. Instructional setting means the students learn in the class, such as they focus on the structure of the language rather than the meaning or communications. And they focus on the grammar rules and they do not care about the communicative approach. And then the next, the next is in communicative instructional settings. Classroom comparisons, teacher and student interactions. This research has concerned the activity of teacher and students in classroom.
This method is making comparing of class A and B, where class A use structure or grammar, and class B is communicative approach, and the second is question and feedback. This scheme is observing the time and instructional questions and the student's response, and the third is ethnography. This scheme is observing the teaching and learning process in foreign language classroom, which has a certain category. And the next
that's about teachers' questions in ASL classroom. Okay, the first is teacher asks small display questions than information questions. And then the second, teachers ask more, and then in the native speaker and non-native speaker conversations outside the classroom. And then the third, questions were more frequent than display questions. Teachers have been encouraged to ask more referential questions since they require more cognitive processing and generate more complex answer. And the fifth, teachers typically give students no more than a second or two before they directed the questions to another student or answer the questions themselves. Thank you, and hope to meet you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Faidatul Ilmiah, and you can call me Nurul Armia, and I am from this department, especially at class. Well, today I'm going to talk about second language in classroom. Before that, we have known that students acquiring their language from two ways. Or the first one is informal, and the second one is formal. For informal, of course, they can get it in their environment, when they are in home, or when they are talking with their friends, or they are doing conversation with their surrounding. That's about informal. Especially, it's not only in environment, but they can also quit some course or study club to do that, to get the informal, to get informal language. Well, for the next one is formal, in informal way. For informal way, of course, is about my topic today, second language learning in classroom. We can call it as a formal ways to get language for the student. And there are some factors that influence second language in the classroom. For the first is about the confidence of the students in public, and for the next one is, of course, the fluency of the student, because they are just stay in the classroom, they never practice outside. So yes, that's influence about the fluency. And for the next one is their language acquisition, their informal language acquisition, such as when they are in the classroom, they just talk about the material that they should study for their third language. And for informal language, it's like about their behavior is also included in their informal language. And also when they are talking with their friends, they don't need to use their formal language, such as in the classroom. And also, it's about the quality of the student. That's a factor that's also the factor that can influence the student language acquisition when they are studying informal ways. And in informal ways, of course, they need to have a teacher, time, and of course the curriculum, and also they must be aware that they have to study about the target language itself. But it also have a benefit. For the first is They will talk with their friend, they will do conversation with their friend, with their surrounding by using uh, grammatical structure, by using the good grammatical structure, and also they have good ability in their language. And of course, when they are talking with someone who are older than them, of course they will use polite language. And also there is weaknesses. For the first is the quality of students in public. They don't have confidence, of course, because they just practice in the classroom. And also the fluency of student. Yes, they never talk with their environment, and they just stay in the classroom, and the pronunciation, of course, it's not improved when they just study in the classroom. Maybe that's all for me. Thank you very much, Nurul. Bye bye.
Today I would like to explain about the nature of learner language. The nature of learner language, and the first explanation, either the first discussions, it would like to explain about the error and error analysis. And the error and error analysis, that is divided into four. The first is identify errors. The second is describing errors. The third is explaining errors. And the fourth is error evaluation. Okay. The first is about identify errors. Start from explaining error. What is the difference between error and mistake? Mistake and error, they are really different. If the error is occur because of the learner is really doesn't know about how it's correct. Okay, and then when he express his speaking is always wrong, and that maybe explain example such as what is it? When he learn about the English, and he's come from using bahasa usually. When a person says thank you, so he answer same like that. That is something wrong because he doesn't know how it's correct answer like that. But it mistake. A mistake is actually he knows how the correct, but usually he wrong when speaking. Example is still same just now. Usually when he want to say no, never mind, it's nggak apa-apa, that is using never mind, but he say what is it? He said no, what? I'm sorry. That is mistake. Okay, and after that it's about describing error. And the second is about describing error. Okay, and the describing error and are different into two types. The first is describing errors. Look at from the grammatical categories. Okay, from the grammatical categories. And the second is a general classify. Here the general classify is all when not only in the grammar, but it's all. And the general what is it? Example. We are going to example. When the example is when the learner speaks English. So in his speaking, maybe it's wrong. It's all general. It's really such. Maybe he is wrong at pronunciation, or maybe wrong at purpose. He want to say it. His purpose is A, but he say it at B, like that. Okay. And the second is explaining error. Error is divided into three. There are error of omission, and the second is error of overgeneralization and transfer error. Okay. And the error of omission, that is when occur when something has been left out. Okay, example, when a learner that learn about English, but it's not completely. So I mean here he has a error fail here, and he don't study that again, and after that in the other time he say that purpose and what is that? It's wrong in his thinking, so deliver to the others will be wrong again like that. Okay, and over-organization. Okay, error over generalization is error in thinking or reason. In thinking or reason, he is always his mean A, but he always pronounce B. Okay, his purpose is A, but he always said what is that? Example, good night. Exactly, his must be usually that. Actually, he must use good evening, but he use good night. Good night. I will meet with the person every night, like that. But in his thing is always like that, and no one correct him. Okay. And the last is error evaluating. Error evaluating is being divided into two, in the global error and local error. In the global error, it means that's the structure of sentence, and then he is wrong at general of structure of sentence. And the local errors, it mean what is it? Just in the single constituent, or in the single constituent, it means just actually in one sentence, it is just wrong in one word or two words like that. Okay, and what is that? And the conclusion of my speech here start on the first and the last is about error and mistakes. Error is occur because of the learner does know what is correct, but in the mistake occur because particular instance, maybe because of the learner always. Because of the learner know how the correct, but usually his speaking is wrong like that. Okay, thank you very much for the time. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.